Hello, thank you for joining our sessions for SCB, and this is SBR. My name is Adam, and we have been working so far on September 2018 questions. Now, this time I want us to look at the requirement D of the question 1, requirement requirement C of the question 1. Now, it says that discuss, so let's copy it and go and paste in the word processor. So I'll paste it here, then I can close the requirement, resize it a bit. Now it says that discuss how the derecognition, so look at it, derecognition of financial instrument should be applied to the sale of the bond, including calculations to show. So I would have to plan my answer. So I'll copy this, put it here, drop it down here, paste, and then also bring the calculations. So I'll copy again and paste. So what I'll do is to just modify this a bit and then bold them, and this will be my headings for the main answer. Now just to have a look at it again, I think I didn't copy the marks, so it's 7 marks, just to ensure that I do not lose sight of it. So I'll put it somewhere here. It's 7 marks, just to remind me as to the depth of my answer. So this is the plan. What I will do is to open up the exhibit, which is exhibit 4 here, acquisition of bonds. So I'll open it up just to try and understand what is there. I'll resize it so I can read it. At the same time, as I resize, I want to drop the word processor, arrange it such that I can move in between. So look at it, just as I've done in the previous videos. When I click here, I'm on the exhibit. When I click back under, I'm on the word processor, and this allows you to move in between the word processor and the exhibit freely. So it's something you need to build on so you are comfortable how you can navigate or move in between the exhibit and the word processor. Great. Now we can read. On 1st July 20 X5, Banana Co. acquired 10 million 5% bonds at par, with interest being due at 30th June each year. The bonds are repayable at a substantial premium, so that the effective rate of interest was 7%. Banana Co. intend to hold the bonds to collect the contractual cash flows arising from the bonds and measure them at amortized cost. So this is good information for me, which would help me look at my calculation. So I would just want to look at that. Let me just drop it here. I might need it, so just to unbold it, I'll need it. Now I'll go back to the exhibit to continue. Now it says that on 1st July X6, so look at it, 1st July X5, then you are looking at 1st July X6. This is the first year end. Banana Co. sold the bonds to a third party for 8 million. The fair value of the bonds was 10.5 million at that date. Now Banana Co. has the right to repurchase the bonds on 1st July X8 for 8.8, and it is likely that these options will be exercised. The third party is obliged to return the bonds, the coupon interest to Banana Co. and to pay additional cash to Banana Co. should the bond values rise. Banana Co. will also compensate the third party for any devaluation of the bonds. Now, to look at the requirements again, we're looking at the derecognition principle under IFRS 9. So basically, knowledge to apply. Under what circumstance would an asset be derecognized? So there was a sale of it, all right, But what is the substance of it? Is it a disposal or not? So what we need to know is to state a principle. So here, in terms of my answer platform, I want to state a principle. So I'll say that as per, let me unbold this quickly. So I'll say that as per IFRS 9, a financial asset, so just to be sure, a financial asset is only derecognized. So derecognized when the entity have transferred all of the risks and rewards incident to the asset to a third party. Or the entities right to receive contractual cash flows have been transferred to a third party, or such rights has expired. So for instance, if the entity sold the asset, that right has expired, and that is a basic principle under the derecognition. Now what we need to know here is that we need to apply to the case. Looking at the substance of it, Banana sold it, but the details of the question indicate that Banana still have a right to receive cash flows from the third party. And what it will mean is that the substance of it is that the Banana Co has not sold what? The bond, and therefore should not derecognize it. So if I'm to build on this again, I'll say that the sale of, so let me just drop it down as a separate point in terms of application. So the sale of the bonds by Banana to the third party does not constitute a sale, since Banana still retain the right to receive the cash flows from the bond. Now then we have to think of concluding here. The substance of the transaction is that Banana has taken a loan and used the bond as a security or as a collateral, and should therefore continue to recognize the bond as an asset, and recognize the amount of I think that's 8 million, and recognize the amount of 8 million as a financial liability. So you look at it in terms of conclusion, you see that the difference between the 8.8 million and the 8 million received should be accounted for as interest. Over the the repayment. Just to have a second look at it, that's going to be X8, so S6 X8, so over the 2-year period, and that should be about it. So quickly, let me just do some of editing here, just to change this to capital, and I'm good to go. Now the last part of it is to look at the calculation. So I would have to use a spreadsheet. So I'll say C maybe workings 4 in spreadsheet. Now, Banana Co. intended to hold the bonds to collect the contractual cash flows arising from the bonds, so just to edit, and measure them at amortized cost. Now, this satisfies the business model test required for the user of amortized cost for the bond. Just keep it simple. Now, the bond should be carried at is amortized cost for the period or year end. And you see, because we are building up on this question, if you look at the year end from the initial, let me close this. So because it's a whole build up, you don't lose sight of the initial. Look at the year end. Let me just close this a bit. I'll open it up again. The year end is 30th June X7, and you have to ensure you pick it out. It's for the year end 30th June X7, so take note of that. So for the period end 30th June 20X7. So now the the carrying amount should be. So we can work with a spreadsheet now. Just build a simple amortized table. So I can just resize this one and call it workings 4. So this is my workings 4. Call it workings 4. Amortization schedule for the bond. So let me just bold it quickly. Now what I'll do, of course, the amortization is to have this as opening balance. First I'll look at the year end. I'll look at the opening balance. I'll look at the effective interest, and I'll look at the coupon, which is the interest, so the interest received, and then I'll look at the closing balance. So let me resize this a bit so that you can see clearly. Yes, and we have this. Great. So just to bold these ones so it's visible. Now the year end, if you go back to, so I can close this schedule a bit and use the exhibit to build up this. So I'm using the exhibit to build it up quickly. Let's see. Great. So just to resize a bit. Now up here we have 1st July X6, we have 1st July X5. So it means that as at 30th June X6. So I would say 20, just keep it simple. I'll come here and say 20 X6, and then I'll move on to 20 X7. So these 2 years. Now what I have here is 10 million. So I can just go back up here because I want to insert the values. So all I'll do is to cut this one, bring it down here and paste. So I've been able to bring a line here so I can put the amount here, and then just replicate all of this across, and then it works out that way. I'll bold it and I'm good to go. So it's 10 million, so I'll put 10 here. Now the effective interest is 7%. So this is equal to this cell times 0.07. 0.07 is 7%. Take note of that. And then I'll go on to look at the interest received, which is the coupon, 5%. So again, it is this times 0.05. Enter. Now, how do I get a closing balance? It is the opening balance plus the effective interest minus the interest received. I have the closing balance. That gives me 10.2 million. Now, in X7, which is the start of the new year, it should be equal to the closing balance. Again, I'll build this up and say that it's equal to this times 0.07, gives me the answer. And then also I'll say again this, because it's same answer, I'll bring it down to have that. I can say it's equal to this one, and also go to the closing balance, and then draw this again. And I can do it this way, and I want you to watch this. It's plus this minus this. that gives me 10.414. So let me delete again, and you will see that I'll put it here and just bring it down. I've been able to copy from the earlier closing formula to the next one. So this is my closing balance. So I'll put it up here. I can close this. Now open up my word processor. Ensure that I've resized it down here and say that the current amount should be 10.414 million. So here C workings 4 in spreadsheet. I can leave it at the top one, it's not a problem. And that is what we have. So I've been able to work on this, showing you how you can do the basic interest calculation and current amount and copy it to the word processor. So I hope this helps and builds your confidence as you practice several other questions with this skill, and you need to practice a lot. Thank you and see you again.